Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you guys all had a good day yesterday. We'll get into that in a minute because we got some tilting to do. You guys know I don't tilt on this channel anymore, but we're going to do some tilting. If you're looking for more in-depth content, I'll have my Discord link down below. If you're looking for news and stuff like that, updates about the slate, what changes from these videos, I'll have my not my Reddit. I'll have a Reddit link down below where I make updates. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. I'll have that link down below as well. All right, let's get into my lineups from yesterday. Yeah. So do you guys know how many injuries I have dealt with this year? I don't think people understand how many injuries I have dealt with this season. Think about it like a 150 max player that plays 150 lineups. I only play two or three lineups a day. Think about a 150 max player. With all their exposures in the world, say they have a player pool of like 40 players. I deal with more injuries, or we'll get into the postponement in a minute, than a 150 max player deals with, and it's not even close. Chicago. What are we doing? Why is your court a swimming pool 30 minutes before lock? How did nobody notice this throughout the day? You walk onto the court and it's a swimming pool. What are you doing? Chicago just became my least favorite team, least favorite organization in the NBA. I will be rooting for their downfall for the rest of the year. I don't think. Look, if I went Aaron Nesmith, say I went Aaron Nesmith over Montas Buzelis. Aaron Nesmith scored 29. Where is Aaron? Aaron scored 29.75. So let's just add that to our score. And by the way, Montas Buzelis projected 3 points better. 3 points better than Aaron Nesmith. Maybe it was like 4 or 5 actually. 280.75 plus 29.75. 310.5. Where are we at? We're right here. Now let's say Montas plays and he hits his medium projection. I think his medium was like, it was in the 30s. It was like 35 or so. 30. Let's just give him 33. Let's give him 34. Lower than his projection. 314.75. Okay, so it would have won me what? An extra $500. But Montas has a ceiling, right? Anything could have happened. Only one person had Bulls above me. And it was Io, who projected less than Montas. 3-point gap. Nobody else. Wait, did I just see one? No. Nobody else. Let me just make sure down here so I can feel better about myself if they did have a bowl. Is it looking like nobody else had a bowl above me besides LaVertical? Who's my good friend, by the way? Me and him probably, yeah. I mean, if they get their medium projection, probably are fighting for first and second. Let's get into my other lineup. Same thing, but this one was worse than the Montas lineup. Like, this probably wouldn't have won first. Maybe it would have I had the same lineup in the 5 max with it's only like a 120 man field, so I think that could have possibly won first, but what the fuck is going on of late? And I apologize for cursing, but that is the most absurd thing I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I apologize. I will get right into the video, I am just trying to Brooklyn Nets just retire. Trying to see if any NBA games lock that I need to get out of this video and answer some questions. I think we are good. All right, let's start with Miami here, who was a part of the postponement last game, so they should be pretty fresh here. They've had I want to say 4 days off. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they will have had 4 days off, so they're going to be fully healthy, very, very fresh here. Really good spot going up against the Pacers. So the way you want to attack the Pacers is with bigs. So like Bam Adebayo at 7-3. I love him in this spot. I'm hoping that he's lower owned because I'll probably end up playing him if he's projecting not to be chalk. If he's chalk, I'll probably just stay away from him just because the usage has been down of late. But this spot just can't get any better. So I'm really, really into Bam Adebayo. Tyler Herro was going to start the last game. Now that he's had days rest, I would assume his minutes uptick to over 30. I love him at this price point. I think he is a phenomenal play at 6.8K. Khalil Ware should come off the bench, so it's hard to prioritize him. We have Jamie back, so that kills Jovic. It kills Pele. Norm Powell downgrade, but he's still playable. I'd prefer getting to Bam or Harrow over him. I think Wiggins is appropriately priced. I think Jamie's appropriately priced. With everyone healthy, it's mainly just, Bam Adebayo I love. Tyler Herro I love. And I think Norm Powell's playable. Davion's cool as well. All right, let's move on to the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, if Nembhard's out, it's going to open up a ton again. Pascal Siakam, in my opinion, will probably be the best play on the slate, regardless of his ownership. We could have, Detroit could be better, but Siakam would be my favorite spend up on the slate. It wouldn't even be relatively close. I would just jam Siakam tomorrow. If Nembhard's out, would absolutely love him. We still have no Mathurin, still have no Isaiah Jackson, so he would be phenomenal. Miami's been better defensively of late now that they're fully healthy, but the pace has been absolutely incredible. So you're getting a better defensive team, but you're getting a team that plays incredibly fast. So I think it kind of cancels out here. A ton of points are going to be scored in this game if it's a competitive game. So I would love, would love Pascal Siakam. Neesmith would be playable. Better spot here. Miami, they're worse up against like spot up shooting. I do want to mention in these situations where we get like Mathurin out, Nembhard out, Neesmith's rates don't go up as much as like people would think, and in turn, because of that, he gets over-owned. So monitor the ownership there. I took a big underweight stance to him yesterday. It would have worked out if it wasn't for the Bulls game, but no issue there. I think he's fine. I would just be underweight if he's chalk. T.J. McConnell, if we get Nembhard out, I think is one of the best value plays in the slate. Jay Huff at 4.4K, I think is really strong as well. Johnny Furphy had an okay game. He played 26 minutes. I would have no issue with him for value. Micah Potter, I'll probably be passing on. And then QJ started, only played 18 minutes, but would be playable. Would like as like a bounce back candidate type deal. Ben Shepherd, sure. All right, if we get Nembhard in, I still like Siakam in this spot. I would really like Nembhard. With no Mathurin, he gets a significant bump in his rates, so I'd really like Nembhard, assuming no limit. T.J. McConnell would be priced right. Neesmith, like I said, his rates don't change much, so that would lower the ownership here in a good matchup. So I'd be into Neesmith. I still think Huff would be solid. I'm not going to get into the values. All right, let's move on to the Clippers here. Back-to-back here, Kawhi should sit here. I believe they said that they were going to sit him on one of the back-to-backs here. I'm pretty sure. We can go over both ways, though. If Kawhi's out, Harden's going to look fantastic. And the good thing here is Detroit plays one-on-one, so the matchup isn't going to be bad. Individually it might be bad, but they play one-on-one. They're not going to trap him. They're not going to double him. So I would love James Harden in this spot. He would be an amazing spend-up. Zoo back-to-back. I don't think he's played a back-to-back yet from coming back from injuries. Keep an eye on that. I don't love the matchup here, but he is too cheap for the minutes and role that he has right now. Collins is playable. I don't love too much else here. And if we get Kawhi out, it changes a ton. Harden would look phenomenal. Zoo would look great. Collins would be a really good play. Dunn would actually be playable. Kobe Sanders would be a good value. And Jordan Miller would be playable at 3.3K. All right, let's move on to Detroit. We can take a look at what they did the last game with Cade Cunningham out. We still have Tobias Harris out as well. Starters were Stewart, Ivy, Paul Reed, Duncan Robinson, Arthur Thompson. We saw a lot of Ron Holland off the bench. We saw a decent amount of Dennis Jenkins off of the bench, and we saw a decent amount of Javonte Green off of the bench. All right, so Arthur Thompson would be fantastic to me. Minutes would be a lot more secure, and he's running that second unit. He's doing a ton of ball handling without Cade. Even with Cade in the lineup, he still is running a different unit when Cade's not on the court, right? So I really like Auzer. I think Stewart at 5.7K would be a really good point per dollar play. What else do we have here? Paul Reed at 5.5K. Faders got absolutely bailed out last game. Still would be a good play for me. Ivy started that one game, just didn't play much. I would like him, especially if the ownership drops. So just keep an eye on that. Not going to play Green. I think Ron Holland's playable. I believe, where were we? Where is Detroit? Duncan, probably going to take a bit more shots. Matchup up against the Clippers is okay. And Karis LeVert at $4,000 would be a good value as well. Then Dennis Jenkins, where is he? Did I mention him? 4.5K. Outlier performance. They can always go with the hot hands, like they can always go with Jaden Ivey. So like I'd play the ownership game with Ivey and Jenkins. And then if Cade plays, I think Cade's great. I still like Paul Reed, still have interest in Stewart. I'd probably just be off the guard values here. Ivy would still be playable, but I wouldn't love the price point there. All right, here we go. Anthony Davis out, Peter Washington out, Brandon Williams out. You're going to need a ton here. Great matchup going up against Chicago. I think Cooper Flagg looks amazing. Najee Marshall looks amazing. Max Christie, I think, is solid. Daniel Gafford, I absolutely love at 4.5K. I think Clay's a good play. Ryan Nembhard at 3.7K looks amazing. You're going to have to get into these guys. Maybe they'll insert someone else into the rotation. But Coop, best place here. Coop, phenomenal. Ryan Nembhard, phenomenal. Gafford, phenomenal. Like Najee Marshall, a ton. Klay Thompson, Max Christie. You're going to have to play a ton of these guys tomorrow, most likely. All right, moving on to the Chicago Bulls. Jalen Smith is listed as questionable. Same with Kevin Huerter. Zach Collins, Josh Giddey are going to remain out for this one. Good spot going up against Dallas. And you guys know I always love to target Daniel Gafford. So like Vucevic. If we do get, I do want to say, if we get Jalen Smith and Kevin Huerter back, keep an eye on the starting lineup. Jalen Smith in also hurts Vooch a little bit, but with no Josh Giddey, they're running pretty much all the offense. And it's not, I wouldn't say all of it. Trey Jones doing a ton of ball handling, but they're running a ton of offense through Vucevic. And this match just couldn't get better. So really into Vucevic, assuming Jalen Smith and Kevin Huerter are out. I think Montes is going to project pretty good. This is a great spot. Always want to target Dallas. Kobe White was going to come off the bench last game. Keep an eye on the starters. I think he's going to play like high 20s minutes. Cheap price point, so good play to me. Tough spot like Dallas. They don't leave people open. Trey Jones, I think is a good point per dollar play as well. And then I would assume I really like if Jalen and Huerter are out. So if Huerter and Jalen are out, I love Io in GPPs. I think Trey's solid. Kobe White's really interesting to me in GPPs. Love Vooch, Mata solid. And if we get Jalen and Huerter in, then like Io downgrade, Trey downgrade. Still would like Kobe White. Still would have interest in Matas, and still would love Vooch. All right, Spurs. Champagny listed as questionable. If he's out, Keldon Johnson and Dylan Harper are going to get the bumps there. 1B at 9.9K if they're going to increase his minutes back to that like 30-minute range. I actually think it's a good spend up. And then Fox Castle, they're just fine. This is not a matchup I really like to attack here, so I'm not really into too many Spurs tomorrow. And then I'm not really, I don't like Keta. There's a really bad spot going up against Victor Wembanyama. They're on a back-to-back here, so maybe we get like Derek White or Jaylen Brown resting too. I believe one of them has sat back-to-back some this year. They're kind of managing their guys, so keep an eye on that. But Jaylen Brown's just the guy you got to go to here if you're playing any of the Boston guys. Not my favorite spend up, but a good spend up. White Pritch, they're just fine. I think we'll have better value than like Simons and Garza. All right, Charlotte, LaMelo Ball. Just want to note they're limiting him on back-to-backs. Luckily, they are not on a back-to-back tomorrow, and they have a couple days off after tomorrow, so that's a good sign. So, like, maybe we can get LaMelo up to, like, over 30 minutes here. Regardless, if he plays 27 minutes at 7.7K, it's just too cheap, man. So I love LaMelo in this spot going up against Utah. I think assuming he's somewhat lower owned. I don't want to play him at like giga ownership, but I really, really like him tomorrow, especially since it's not a back-to-back, and I think we could get up to 30 minutes. So he looks great to me. Really good spot for like the spot-up shooters. Brandon Miller, Con Canoopel. So some interest there. I prefer Brandon Miller to Con. Con's just priced right with everyone healthy. Miles, good spot too. It's fine. And we could have Kalkbrenner back, and we do have Grant Williams back tomorrow. Okay, Kalkbrenner probable, so I'm not going to be in the Musa. Grant Williams is back too, so I don't know if he's going to play, but good to see him back. I don't know if you guys remember last year, but like he was like a point per minute demon last year. All right, moving on to Utah. Nurk questionable, Markkanen out. I mean, why didn't we sit Markkanen yesterday? It's just I don't understand it. But yeah, they're sitting Markkanen against bad teams. They're managing him. They're tanking when they said they weren't going to tank. So not the best matchup going up against Charlotte, but with no Markkanen, there's going to be decent amounts of like your Key going to play a ton of minutes. Going to be the number one option. He's going to be playing alongside Bums. So really good spend up the top. Keep an eye on the Nurkic news. If he's out, I'm going to like some Kevin Love quite a bit. Filipowski with no Markkanen's playable. Not a must, but a good play. And then Bryce Sensabaugh gets a pretty big bump at 5'7", super safe play. And I think that's it. Like, sure, if you want to get into like fee, go for it. Collier, but they're definitely priced correctly. All right, that's going to do it for the slate. Hope you guys had a great day. Hopefully you avoided some bulls, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow.